We have learned how to graph in slope-intercept form, but not every linear equation is given to us in slope-intercept form. So today we're going to learn how to change standard form to slope-intercept form and graph. Okay? So, if you'll notice right here, we have 2x plus y equals 5. That is not slope-intercept form. Y is not isolated. But x and y are over here on the same side. They're equal to a constant. They're equal to a number. This has a special name. When you have a number times x plus or minus a number times y and that equals a constant, that's called standard form. I'm having a hard time writing with the stylus today. Okay? Now, standard form, we use standard form when we were finding intercepts. It has other uses along the way, but we will find that slope-intercept form is often the most useful. So what we will be doing when it's not in standard form, in slope-intercept form, we will have to change it to slope-intercept form, and our whole goal, I also cannot talk today, is to isolate y. We're going to try to get y all by itself. We're going to use equation rules. This is sort of going to be like solving two-steps equations, which you did quite a bit last year. We've done a little bit this year. But this is going to be variables. It's just going to look strange to you. But you can do it. It's equation rules. So here I have 2x plus y equals 5. I need to get this y by itself. What's in the way? A positive 2x. Well, how do I move a positive 2x? I subtract 2x. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay? So my 2x minus 2x goes away. I bring down my y. And over here, I have a 5 and a negative 2x. Those are not like terms. They both don't have x's, so we cannot combine them. So all we can do is copy because they're not like terms. So I'm going to bring down the negative 2x plus 5 because that's a positive 5. Now, why did I write the negative 2x first? Well, now, all of a sudden, this is slope-intercept form, right? So we changed it to slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. Now we can graph. What are my slope and my y-intercept? Well, my slope is negative 2, and I'm going to go ahead and put that over 1, and my y-intercept is 5. How do we graph this? Well, we have to graph our y-intercept of 5 right there, and my slope is negative 2 over 1, so I'm going to go down 2 and over 1 and put a point, and then down to, this stylus does not like, and over 1 and put another point. So I've got my 3 points. Here's my line. I can give it either name. I can just put the slope-intercept form, or I could put 2x plus y equals 5. They're the same line, they're just in different forms. Okay? Now let's look at this next one. 4x minus y equals negative 1. I'm trying to isolate y. Right now, what's in the way? A 4x. What kind of 4x? A positive 4x. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. I'm going to bring down what kind of y? A negative y. Don't lose the negative. That negative is important. I'm going to write my negative 4x first and my minus, whoops, I wasn't paying attention, my minus 1 at the end. Now, is y isolated? No, it is not, because it's got this minus in front of it. How do I get rid of that minus sign? Well, I have to divide by negative 1, right? But when you divide by negative 1, you have to divide every part by negative 1. You have to divide the whole thing by negative 1. So now that becomes, my negative and negative becomes y. Here I've got negative 4 and negative 1. That becomes positive 4. My x is still there. And here I've got negative 1 divided by negative 1. That becomes plus 1. Okay? Alright, so I want you to identify M. I want you to identify B. Graph this line and check it. Alright, I got M was 4 over 1, B is 1, so I started with my y-intercept at 1. The stylus is not agreeing with me on this particular app, so up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, I got my 3 points. There's my line. Remember, you can check your slope. A negative slope, we're going down from left to right. A positive slope, we're going up. We're just going to do more of the same here. Remember, our goal is to isolate y. Here I have a minus 3x plus 2y equals 8. So I'm trying to isolate that y. I've got to get rid of this minus 3x. How do I get rid of a negative 3x? I add 3x. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I'm going to bring down my 2y equals, I cannot combine 8 and 3x because they are not like terms. I'm going to write my 3x first because I want it in slope-intercept form, and I'm going to put the 8. Now, here y is still not isolated. This time, a 2's in the way. So I'm going to divide by 2. And remember, when you're doing this, this is a little different because of the fact that we have an expression over here. I have to divide everything by 2. The whole thing, okay? Every little part. So what do I end up with? I end up with y. Now, leave that 3 halves as 3 halves because remember that's the slope and we want the slope to be a fraction. Don't change that to a decimal. 8 over 2 simplifies nicely and I get 4. Okay? Now you identify M, identify B, graph the line. Check your line with mine. Make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Make sure you didn't make any mistakes. And let's look at the next one. The next one is x plus 3y equals 9. I'm trying to isolate y. What do I have to get rid of first? I have to get rid of this x. That's a positive 1x, right? So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'm going to bring down my 3y. I can't combine 9 and x. They are not like terms. So I'm going to write the minus x first and the plus 9 at the back. Now what do? I have to get rid of that 3. It's 3 times y. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. Okay? These cancel. Now, what's going on here? Remember there's a 1 here that we don't write. So we're going to put a negative 1/3 when we're getting our slope, negative 1/3 x, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So there's your slope-intercept form. You pause the video, graph this line. Okay, check your work, check your slope, check your intercept. Notice it has negative slope, so my line's going down from left to right. Alright, I want you to try these two on your own. Pause the video, you try both of them by yourself. You can turn the video back on, I'll have them both worked, and you can see how you did. How'd you do? How'd I do? Remember, always check. I could make mistakes. I often do. Couple things I want to point out. Look at some things that happen with your signs. Here I have a negative over a negative. Notice how that became a positive. Here I had a positive over a negative. Notice how that became a negative. Same sort of thing happened over here. Two negatives made a positive and a negative made a negative. So pay close attention to your signs. All right, note any questions you have, and we will do some practice in class.